What happens when two jets clip wings at LaGuardia? Systemic failure or a frightening fluke? I'm Ethan. Tonight, Maya probes the human and infrastructure costs, while Leo applies forensic scrutiny. We'll untangle the contradictions fast, because this scrape could change how every plane moves on the ground. Tonight, two stories of the same crash. The official line says one jet should have yielded. The public feeds say, crazy footage. A wing torn, a shattered windscreen, same taxiway, two Delta Connection CRJ-900s. Very different narratives.
And in that gap, people are asking the right question. What systems failed on the ground? Not just who to blame, but why two planes got close enough to touch metal at all.
Hold on. The internet loves drama. A taxiway bang becomes an apocalypse. Let's keep our feet on the tarmac. Scary, yes. Catastrophic, no. There's a reason procedures exist and investigators are on it.
Here's the verified baseline. Just before 10 p.m. at LaGuardia, two regional jets, operated by Endeavor, clipped each other at a taxiway intersection. One had arrived from Charlotte, the other was taxiing for departure to Roanoke. Air traffic audio captures a crew. Their right wing clipped our nose and the cockpit. We have damage to our windscreen and some of our screens in here. A flight attendant had a minor injury. Everyone else walked away.
Passengers were deplaned on the taxiway, bussed back, fed, rebooked. That's humane triage. But it's also the aftermath of a failure that shouldn't happen in a tightly controlled environment.
Port Authority said no impact to airport operations, no runway closures, no mass chaos. That matters. The system flexed. It didn't buckle.
The FAA says the Virginia-bound plane was told to hold short and yield. Fault is not yet assigned. The NTSB has recovered the flight recorders from both aircraft and will analyze data and interview crews and controllers.
And LaGuardia has advanced surface radar. Officials note it's focused on runway protection. Whether it helped or not on a taxiway is, quote, unclear. That's a design choice with consequences.
Or it's exactly what it says on the tin, a runway safeguard. Expecting it to be a magic taxiway bubble is like blaming a smoke detector for not making coffee. Purpose matters.
Public discourse kicked off fast. One viral clip promised crazy footage and radar. With a breathless, who's at fault here? Pilots? The taxi people? Miscommunication? Not enough staff?
That same clip echoes what passengers felt. Feel the thud. You're like, oh my God, we plane crash. And fear is real. It's why the system must be built to forgive human error before metal touches metal.
And yet, context. A retired captain told a morning show he sees a couple ground dings a year nationwide. Embarrassing? Sure. Common? No. Catastrophic? Almost never. Let's measure, not panic.
Let's bring in the cockpit view. That veteran pilot said on jets like these, it's hard to see your wingtip from the seat. At night, lighting can confuse. Both aircraft may be moving. You assume the other will stop.
And when he doesn't, you may not have time to stop. That's not excuse-making. It's physics and geometry. Taxiway angles, cockpit sightlines, and human assumptions all intersected here.
Which is why layered defenses matter. If the sterile cockpit is in effect during taxi, if read back and hear back are crisp, if hold short lines are respected, these assumptions never get to collide.
Passengers give texture. William Lusk, arriving from Charlotte, said they took a right off the main runway, felt brakes, saw an object pass the left, then felt the nose dragged to the right. You can feel the jolt through his words.
He also reminds us, people rely on crews to keep calm. The cockpit told them, we've been in a crash, remain calm. And the crew managed a clean evac to buses. That's professionalism when it counts.
Professionalism that exists inside constraints. LaGuardia is cramped. As that captain said, places like LaGuardia and National pack traffic into tight spaces. That's infrastructure, not just pilot judgment.
Sure, but cramped isn't broken. Dallas or Kennedy have space to spare. LaGuardia does not. You move chess pieces differently on a smaller board. Controllers do it daily and do it well.
Now to the contradictions. Timestamps vary between about 9:56 and about 9:58 p.m. Minor, but noted. More importantly, which plane hit which? Early accounts say the departing jet's right wing clipped the arriving jet's nose, while a later description says the inbound plane to the gate struck the outbound plane. A news brief named the outbound as Flight 5155 and said its wing struck the fuselage of the Charlotte arrival. That is a direct conflict.
Passenger counts also wobble. Some say roughly 30 on one, around 60 on the other, with crew totals shifting. It's classic fog of breaking news, but the data recorders won't wobble. They'll tell us speeds, brakes, and headings.
Damage descriptions diverge too. One says a shattered cockpit window and a gouged nose. Another screams a wing was almost off. Different angles, different adrenaline. The photos show a serious dent and a gashed wing, not a missing limb.
Officially, the FAA highlights instruction to hold short and yield to the other aircraft. A former controller posits miscommunication. Did a crew misread an instruction, putting them too close? That is the central question.
And if so, why didn't a second layer catch it? Was the readback garbled? Did a controller hear a correct readback and then get saturated with other tasks? Was there an alert the system doesn't generate on taxiways the way it does on runways?
Caution on piling on tech. The surface radar is built to prevent runway incursions. Expecting it to police every taxiway merge is like asking a goalie to play striker. You can add tools, but human discipline still rules the ground game.
Evidence gaps remain. We don't yet have full tower tapes, exact taxi clearances, or flight data plots showing who crossed the centerline when. The NTSB has both recorders. Those timelines will replace speculation with time marks.
Meanwhile, accountability should look up and down the chain. Airlines set tight turns. Airports juggle capacity. Regulators decide where to invest. When space is scarce, you either add buffers or you accept razor-thin margins. Which is it?
Let's not pretend margins are everywhere razor thin. Millions of safe taxi movements happen a year. When one goes sideways, we don't need a Greek chorus chanting doom. We need to ask who missed what line or instruction and fix that.
Delta's response is standard but notable. They apologized, took care of customers with meals and hotels, and pledged cooperation, stressing safety comes before all else. It's the playbook. Now it meets the facts.
The playbook can't become a shield. If systemic risk is rising, whether from staffing, training shortcuts, or squeezing schedules, the response has to be more than hotel vouchers and a press release.
And yet, let's credit the crews. One attendant got hurt doing her job. The cabin stayed orderly. Pilots communicated clearly. We've been in a crash, remain calm. That's the safety culture in action, not a slogan.
Let's zoom into the intersection itself. Two taxiways, identified in reports as M and A, cross. Clearances would have sequenced an arrival to the gate and a departure to a hold. Somewhere that choreography broke.
Choreography implies tempo. At night, in tight confines, you slow the dance. If traffic pressure or schedule pressure nudged anyone to keep rolling, that's an operational choice we should name and change.
Or a single blown note in an otherwise solid orchestra. The captain interviewed said these events are rare and usually boil down to one misunderstanding, not a sinister pattern. Sometimes Occam's razor trims just fine.
We've also heard an online host tie this to numerous plane crashes in recent months. Important distinction, taxiway collisions are serious, but not the same as airborne disasters. The investigation will sort category from category.
And yet, the pattern that worries me is normalization of deviance. Little near misses, minor scrapes brushed aside because everyone walked away. Those are warnings, not footnotes. They should trigger design fixes and training refreshers.
Agree on learning, disagree on the indictment. Teach better taxi briefings. Who yields at what intersections? Where wingtips can bite, how to confirm hold short. That's practical, not apocalyptic.
Speaking of briefings, read back and hear back. If the outbound was told to hold and yield, did the crew read it back? Did the controller catch a wrong readback? Was there a call sign mix-up? Those details often decide these cases.
And what about cockpit workload? Night taxi at a complex field is high workload. Are crews distracted by electronic flight bags, irregular gate changes, last-minute paperwork? The sterile cockpit is sacred for a reason.
Also sightlines. On a CRJ, you sit low and forward. Your wing is behind you. You live by center lines, lights, and trust. When another jet's wing arcs across your path at the wrong moment, it's seconds, not minutes, to react.
We should underscore, investigators will merge data from flight recorders, cockpit audio, tower tapes, and radar tracks. That mosaic will reveal speeds, brake pressures, thrust, taxi route deviations, and communication timing.
And I'll be looking for systemic breadcrumbs, staffing levels in the tower, controller workload at that minute, whether any safety alerts lit up, whether taxiway markings or lighting at that corner are due for an upgrade.
I'll be watching for the simple truth. Did someone cross a line they shouldn't have? If so, say it, fix the training, move on. Not every bruise is a broken bone in need of surgery.
Let's revisit the human perspective. That cabin fell silent. Then a pilot leveled with them. Hey, we've been in a crash. Everyone remain calm. Clear communication protects people as much as aluminum does.
And aftercare matters. People got to hotels, meals were offered, rebookings arranged. That's decency. But if a family now fears every taxi, that's a cost you don't see on a balance sheet. Safety is also psychological.
Fair. But the best antidote to fear is transparency. Release the tapes, explain the fix, show the taxi lanes repainted if needed. The industry's good when it speaks plainly after it stumbles.
Recap as we pivot. Facts. 2 regional jets made contact at a taxiway intersection just before 10 p.m. 1 minor crew injury, no passenger injuries. Operations continued, investigations active, black boxes in hand, fault unknown. Open questions. Which aircraft had right-of-way in practice, not just instruction? Did Redback fail? Did a controller sequence 2 movers into the same space? Did geometry and sightlines set a trap at that corner?
Broader implications. Surface surveillance optimized for runways leaves taxiways as the softer underbelly. If we refuse to expand concrete, we must expand certainty. Better markings, smarter alerts, slower ground speeds at choke points.
And we must expand discipline. Taxi like you're in a school zone. If you're told to hold, you hold. If unsure, you stop and ask. That humility prevents a lot of aluminum rash.
Media implications also surfaced. One outlet flatly said the outbound wing of Flight 5155 struck the inbound fuselage. Others flipped it. We'll know soon. For now, that contradiction is a teaching moment in patience.
Patience and pressure. Because every time a hot take goes viral, the focus drifts from systems to spectacle. I want the NTSB to feel supported and the operators to feel watched. That tension produces safety gains.
And I want the rest of us to remember, aviation is safe because people learn from small scars. Taxi scrapes are signals. Read them, don't weaponize them. Fix what failed, then keep flying.
One more nuance. The controller's job in a cramped field is like air traffic Sudoku. Pieces must fit. If the board is too tight, errors cost more. That's a planning problem as much as a moment-to-moment one.
Exactly. If land can't grow, policy should. Slot management, taxi flow redesign, maybe procedural holds at known pinch points. We already know where the stress fractures are. We don't need a final report to start shoring them up.
Start smart, not symbolically. New paint and clearer hold lines beat shiny gadgets you won't use at 2 a.m. A crisp readback beats a dazzling map you weren't looking at anyway.
Maya, you argued earlier for more buffer. How do you square that with on-time pressure and gate scarcity at LaGuardia?
You tell the truth. Some minutes are cheaper than metal. You pad taxi times at hotspots, accept slight delays, and you track the savings in avoided incidents. Airlines already do fuel hedges, hedge safety margins the same way.
I'll buy that if it's targeted, not blanket. Sharpen the pencil at the few intersections that bite. Don't slow every wheel turn because of one scrape. Precision over theater.
As we approach the close, 2 truths can coexist. 1. This was frightening, could have been worse, and deserves scrutiny. 2. The safeguards around it worked enough to keep people safe and the airport moving.
And a third truth, the public deserves clarity. Say which plane moved where, who was told what, and what changes follow. Ambiguity breeds distrust faster than any taxiway collision does.
And maybe retire the alarmist montage. Save the word catastrophe for a catastrophe. Call this what one captain did, an airplane fender bender. Serious, embarrassing, fixable.
We'll leave you with the path ahead. Investigators will sync recorder data, tower audio, and surface tracks. They'll map the taxi routes, speeds, and calls leading to the moment of contact, second by second. When that timeline lands, we'll revisit the hold short instruction, the right-of-way, and whether geometry, human factors, or system design carried the day. And we'll ask what fixes stick beyond the headlines.
Because safety isn't a statement, it's a series of choices. Make better ones now, and the next passenger only feels a smooth turn, not a sudden jolt to the right.
And maybe the next viral clip is a boring taxi. In aviation, boring is beautiful.
We'll track the NTSB findings and what Delta, the FAA, and the Port Authority change on the ground. Next time, we'll tell you whether a line of paint, a line in a manual, or a single call on a radio could have broken this chain.